What's up, you guys? Today we're going to be working on the Toyota pickup, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be replacing the 1-inch lowering blocks that we have on here right now, and we're going to put these 2-inch angled or tapered lowering blocks, and these are steel as well. The ones that we have on there right now, they are aluminum. The aluminum ones sometimes crack, so that's why we decided to go with the steel lowering blocks. Came with the sticker, air slam it. We got these on eBay for like about 60 or 70 bucks, something like that, shipped. So it's not too bad. So we're gonna have to lift up the truck to get it off these wooden stands, and we have to put the jack stands on the chassis. Also, by lowering it 1 more inch, we're gonna have to do some clearance up here, because as you could tell, it already messed up this tire. These aren't that old. We're here on the passenger side. We're gonna start off by removing the shock. So this is a 14. We're just gonna pull this out. Got the shock out, and that gives us some less tension on the what is it called, the leaf spring plate. That's gonna come off with a 4/19mm nut that you can see right there. And we thought we were gonna be able to use these because it looks like they still have another inch of thread showing, but that thing is gonna be a little too short. Now that the weight is on the leaf spring and this isn't holding it in place anymore, this can come off like that, and you can remove. This is the 1-inch lowering block. It's just aluminum. Compared to the new one, this one's completely flat on both sides. This one is flat on the bottom, and then it has this tapered angled thing right here. So since the truck is lowered, we're gonna put the angle going down towards the ground for the front. So the lower side is gonna be facing the engine, and then the higher side is gonna be facing the rear bumper, so we could fix our pinion angle. That's gonna make the pinion drop forward to where it has to be, or close to where it should be. If we put it backwards, it would lift up the pinion even more. So I guess you could use that like on the lifted application. I'm gonna remove these bolts. Actually, I could just put them on the side. I'm gonna have to do that with 2 hands to slide this in and then lower the jack a little bit to be able to get the lift block to go in. Now we have to shift the axle around a little bit to be able to get the center, that little pin, to sit on this, on the diff. We got this side in and we got this side in. The only thing that we're having a problem with is these U-bolts. We had got these at AutoZone when we lowered the truck, because the ones that were on here were all messed up. And they worked good on the 1-inch lowering blocks, but on these, I think it's not gonna work. Let me try to fit this one on, but you can see how much thread is past the leaf spring. So we got this a bit tight, but you can see that the U-bolts are way too short. They're like way in there. So we're gonna go ahead and order some new U-bolts, and then when they get here, we'll put you guys back on so we can finish installing these lowering blocks. So in the meantime, we're gonna go ahead and readjust these leaf spring helpers, because they did move back a bit. And we're also gonna add these little pins. Good thing we didn't throw them away when we installed these. So as we have it right now, it's on light load. I think we're gonna move it to the medium load. So that's the hole up in the front, and if we have to, we're gonna put all the way into heavy load. Once we get the truck on the ground, we're gonna see where it sits, but we have to start off by removing these 19ths. So we're gonna remove the wheel just to get through these a little faster. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this off, get the impact on there, and remove the lug nuts. We got one nut, washer and lock nut off. So that's gonna give us enough room to put this little pin in here. And the reason we added these is because these leaf springs go completely flat once the weight of the truck is on there. So we wanted a little more load capacity because we do put stuff in here sometimes. And they actually helped a lot compared to how it was without these. But even then, it still bottomed out pretty quick. That's why we added these shocks. And we're gonna add a little more, hopefully a little more load capacity with these little pins. So that's why we're doing all this again. We got this side done. We'll go ahead and do the passenger side. That's what it looks like. And I'm gonna leave the wheel off because, like I said earlier, we have to make some clearance for the tire right here. We just got the U-bolts in today from Air Slam. This is the hardware. It comes with some washers, some nylon nuts, and 4 of these. But we installed those already because we wanted to see how it was gonna fit, and we actually had to cut 2.5 inches off of each side. Well, that's what we decided to cut. Because if you look at that, because if you see right here, the U-bolts would be way past the leaf spring. We don't want this to scrape, so what we did is we measured 2.5 and then we cut. So that's what we're gonna do on this side now. First, we're gonna measure the U-bolts and then chop them up. We have this rusty ass table. We had to use 2 hands to get the leaf spring plate, or whatever you call this, back on with the U-bolts. So now we're gonna put the hardware on, a washer and a nut per thread, and then we can run it all the way up and start getting them tight. We ran the nuts in all the way, and we measured the thread because it kind of looks like it's sticking out a little too much, but we only have 1 inch of thread showing past the nut. Same with the passenger side. So the way we're supposed to torque these, I guess it says on the internet to have the weight of the vehicle on the axle. So since we're not gonna put the wheels on because we still have to do the clearance thing right here, what we're gonna do is put the jack stands on the axle. So we're gonna have to lift the truck again, put those jack stands over here, then lower it, and once the weight of the truck is on the diff, it's the same as if the weight of the truck was on the wheels. Then we're gonna go ahead and torque these to 100 foot-pounds. We're gonna torque them to 100. You could torque them to whatever you guys want. We just decided to go to 100, and even 100 I think might be a little bit too much. The internet says that 19mm U-bolt should torque to around 200 something, but I think that's way too much. So we're gonna do 100, maybe even 90, and leave it at that. The OEM U-bolts for these trucks I think should be at 90. but those are OEM U-bolts. These are aftermarket, so we're just gonna do 100 just to be safe. And once the diff is up, I think that's when we're gonna be able to put these shocks back on. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to bend the lip on here, so you can see it's rubbing here up to like about here. So I guess we're gonna do from here to here. Doesn't have to be exact, but that's like the what we're deciding to bend. And all we're gonna do is we're gonna heat it up with this heat gun. I don't know if this is gonna be strong enough, but we're gonna try to use this to bend it up little by little while it heats up, just so we won't mess up the paint. And hopefully that gives us enough clearance for the wheel. And you can see right here, this is where we were hitting, and it's all bent. This is what we got done so far. I don't know if you guys could tell because it's kind of dark now, but you can kind of see it right there. But this would give us roughly like ½ an inch of clearance. We make it completely flat from the inside, and we won't be rubbing on that metal lip anymore. So I'm gonna keep going a little more, and then I'll put you guys back on. So all we're doing is just heating it up with this, and then we're going slowly bending the edge of the lip in. Today we picked up this drive shaft. It's from a newer Toyota, probably like 89 and newer, or one of the balancing things came off, but we didn't notice that the U-joints were different. So we got U-joints from Rock Auto for this type of drive shaft, and they're different. So we were trying to get an extra drive shaft to not have to cut the original one off, just in case we ever decide to lift the truck up a little more and then put the stock one back on. But since we ran into this issue, what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut the original one, and we're gonna save this one just in case we do want to lift the truck back up one day, and we could have a stock drive shaft to put back on. They are the same length, and this one I don't think is damaged. It does look like it was rubbing in a couple of places. So for now, we're gonna drop this off at the shop. I'm gonna take these off right now, like the U-joint and the flange down here, and then we'll drop it off, and I think it should be ready within a couple of days. We were having a little issue with the drive shafts. This is the original one from the truck. This is the one that we picked up to get cut to the size that we need, because we didn't want to cut this one and have it as a spare. But when we picked it up, we didn't pay attention that the U-joints are different from these and the ones like this on the older body styles. So we decided to leave this one alone and not cut it. And we had decided to cut the original one. But when we took it to a drive shaft shop, they told us that they can't cut these because it changes size right here. You see how it's tapered? So today we picked up this drive shaft. It is from 84 to 88, 5-speed, short bed, extra cab pickup. And you can see that this one is one whole size all the way across. So we're gonna be able to get this one cut, and this is the size that we need, 25 1/4 from the center of the U-joint to the center of the U-joint, like I told you guys before. So we're gonna drop this one off, and once it's ready, we'll be able to throw it on the truck. But yeah, that's the dilemma that we ran into. So now we have this one as a spare, and we have the original one as a spare. So we finally got the drive shaft back. It's been a week and a half since we dropped it off, but they finally were able to cut it down to the length that we wanted. So from roughly from the center of the U-joint to the center of the U-joint, it's 25 1/4. So that's what we needed. Now we have to wait for the U-joints, because the ones that we ordered, the 390s, they're not the right ones. These are way smaller. They're for the 4-speed transmission drive shafts. see the size difference. So I'm gonna put you guys back on again when the new U-joints come in. So it's been a couple of weeks now. The Driveshaft shop took like about 2 weeks with the Driveshaft, and they finally got to it, cut it to length. So now all we did is we washed it down, sanded it lightly, and then we sprayed it with some Rust-Oleum paint. It's completely dry now. We also took these off and coated these with some paint just to make it look a little nicer. We cleaned out the insides a little bit. Just make sure that it was all nice and smooth. And we also just got in the mail today the U-joints, because the other U-joints were the wrong ones. They were too small. So we got 3 of these 387s. So let's see if these work. Over here to the table. Yeah, these are the right ones. So it's not the other ones that we had. It's the 387s, the ones that we need. So we're just gonna go ahead and put these in. We're not gonna show you guys because we don't know exactly what we're gonna be doing. We don't really mess with U-joints, so we're just gonna just try to tap them in lightly or something. As long as we get both of these in, oh actually 3 of them in, we'll put you guys back on once the drive shaft is complete. So we got all 3 U-joints on. Now we're gonna assemble the drive shaft and throw it on the truck. And then we're gonna grease them up. All right, so we're under the truck. The drive shaft is in. It's all put back together. We got that side in and tight. We got this middle section tight. This is our measurement, roughly. So we're off just a little bit on this side. We try to straighten it out as much as possible, but this is as close as we got it to being straight. We're gonna try to back it off and maybe even like straighten this out a little more. But we have to run to AutoZone and get some transmission oil, because we did leak a lot of transmission oil when we pulled out the first drive shaft. Because we turned on the truck and it was running and it started pouring out the transmission fluid. So we gotta get that done before we put this on the ground and we test drive it. We aren't able to put transmission fluid in here because this thing is super stripped. Whoever had it, I don't know what they used, probably like an impact on our TV or something, I don't know. So we're gonna have to do it from we're gonna have to remove the shift lever and pour in some transmission fluid through there. It's not a lot, so we're just gonna do probably like a quarter of the bottle that we bought. We're gonna get the truck off of the jack stands finally after like about 2 months. Okay, so we're getting the shift knob out now. Hopefully we don't drop any of the bolts down there, because then we're gonna have to move the truck and then get the bolt and then put the truck back where it's at right now. Oh my God. So we're gonna pour the transmission fluid down here. Hopefully this also works. There's no other way to do it. I don't feel like having the truck up on a jack stand anymore. So I'm gonna try to get a funnel to just pour some in. Then we're gonna do about half or 3/4 of this bottle, and we should be good. Finally got everything put back together. Make sure it's a neutral. We're gonna put it out in a bit. I'm just gonna let it warm up for a couple of minutes. No issues at all so far. We're hitting about 50. No vibrations or anything. So last night we couldn't finish recording because it was really dark, and today we drove the truck about 30 to 40 miles and no issues at all, no weird noises or anything like that. So I guess we're good on the drive shaft. For the last few clips we didn't really show you guys in detail like putting the U-joints and installing the drive shaft because we were kind of pretty much over this video. The drive shaft took too long, and then the U-joints took, we got the wrong ones, and the other ones took a couple of weeks to get here. I think like a week or two. And we kind of just wanted to get this video done, so we wanted to just install the drive shaft and get it running. The rear is sitting a little lower, well, a whole inch lower, so that tire is tugging more than the front. The front end isn't tugging at all, but this actually makes the truck level. So I guess that's it for this video. Make sure to check us out on Instagram at Yonke_OHC Films. I'll leave that in the description down below, and we'll catch you on the next one.